Before we start this episode, I want to make sure you know about the live Better Husband community call happening at the end of the month. I'll be doing some teaching live, just like I do on this podcast, sharing more about my own personal journey to becoming a better husband, explain what the Better Husband community is all about and my vision for its growth, and answer questions live from you. Go to joinbetterhusband.com right now to save your seat. That's joinbetterhusband.com, or just click the link at the bottom of the show notes. And I'll see you on the call. If there's one thing that I think everyone can agree on, is that life can be draining. And by the end of the day, we often feel tired, wrung out, depleted. And in the context of relationships, that's incredibly important, because if you let it, life will take everything out of you before you ever get to each other. By the time the day is done, you've already been pulled in 100 different directions. Work, kids, the house, bills, messages, decisions, things that need your attention now, and things you forgot that are waiting for you tomorrow. Then, finally, there's a small window where you and your wife can connect. And sometimes even that feels like too much to ask from an already overloaded day. That's a familiar place for a lot of couples. The kids are down, the kitchen is half cleaned up, one of you is on the couch, maybe both of you are, the TV is on, or somebody's scrolling, or you're just sitting there in the same room feeling the day just land in your body. And even if part of you misses her, even if part of you wants to talk and laugh and reach for her, another part of you is thinking, I've got almost nothing left. And when that becomes the pattern, the marriage starts to feel it. Over time, exhaustion starts making too many of the decisions. It decides whether you talk or just handle logistics, whether you reach for each other or keep your distance, whether the night holds any warmth or just one more handoff before bed. That's what we're getting into today. We're talking about how to create connection when you're both tired, what happens when exhaustion starts shaping the relationship, what leadership looks like when both of you want to shut down, and how to move toward each other in simple ways that fit the life you actually have. Because you don't need an optimized, magical life hack evening routine to stay connected, but you do need intention. You do need to notice what this pace of life is costing the marriage, and you do need a way to stop handing the relationship over to fatigue night after night. So if you love your wife, if life feels full, and if the two of you have been getting the most worn down version of each other for a while now, stick around. You don't want to miss this one. Welcome to Better Husband, the podcast that helps you answer the question, how can I be a better husband? I'm Angelo Santiago, a men's marriage and relationship coach, and every week I bring you practical insights to help you strengthen your marriage and become the best husband you can be. I was thinking about this the other day because I can feel it in my own life. I love the work I do. I love getting to help men wake up inside their marriages and see that they can learn how to do this differently. I care about that a lot. And outside of that work, I've got a full life I care about too. My family, my health, my house, cooking, friends, church, staying connected to family around the country, the life my wife and I are building, raising a 6-year-old, keeping all the ordinary moving parts of a home going. And all those things that I love, that's part of what makes this such an honest conversation. A lot of what drains us is made up of good things that we choose, things that we value, things that deserve our attention, but they still take a lot out of us. And there are nights where I feel that by the end of the day. I can feel the pull to shut down. I just know I've given a lot and there isn't much left in me. That's why this topic feels very real to me. I'm not talking about this as a guy who has it all dialed in. I'm talking about it as a husband who knows what it feels like when the day has taken a lot out of you and the marriage is waiting there at the end of it. And I know I'm not the only one. I talked about this with one of my clients who knows those daily check-ins with his wife help a lot. He knows that they stay more connected when they find a little time to talk. But once their kids are asleep, they're both spent. And I think about guys who work shifts or guys who travel a lot because I know that kind of fatigue too from my firefighting days. Sometimes you come home and your body is there, but the rest of you is still catching up. And then there are couples who are really trying to make it work. They still want closeness, but by the end of the day, they only have enough energy for logistics, school forms, laundry, appointments, pickup, dinner, tomorrow's plans. Another day gets handled, but the marriage itself doesn't get much attention. I think that's where a lot of couples are living. They're not checked out on purpose, but somewhere along the way, they start spending so much energy managing life around the marriage that they stop protecting the connection inside of it. And that's really the question underneath it all. What do you do when the problem is that by the time you finally get to each other, there's just not much left? Before we get into what to do, I want to spend just a little time normalizing this. A lot of men are already blaming themselves by the time a conversation like this starts. They hear something about connection and immediately go to, yeah, I know I should be doing more. I should be more present. I should be initiating more. I should be bringing something better home at the end of the day. And maybe there are places where that's true, but I don't want to skip past something important. A lot of you are tired in a serious way. You've been carrying a lot for a long time. Your body feels heavy by the end of the day. Your mind has already been running all day. Even the things you care about have taken something out of you. Then night comes and the marriage is there too. And in most cases, both you and your wife are arriving at the moment worn down. That's what makes this hard. It's not just that you're depleted and your wife wants more from you. A lot of the times she's depleted too. She's carrying her own things, and the two of you are standing in the same house at the end of the same day with very little margin left between you. So when that small window for connection opens up, it can feel less like relief and more like one more place that needs something from you. That does not automatically mean you're selfish, and it does not automatically mean that she's withdrawn. It means the two of you are up against a very human problem. And I think it helps to say this plainly. A lot of the exhaustion in marriage comes from good things. Work you care about, people you love, responsibilities you take seriously, a life you're trying to build well. That's part of why this gets confusing. You can be doing a lot of good, necessary things and still wind up with very little left for each other by the end of the day. So I want to start this with some compassion. Sometimes the reason you don't move toward your wife at night is not that you don't want connection, is that connection feels like it will cost energy you're not sure you still have. That's a hard moment. Part of you misses her. Part of you knows it would help to sit down, talk, touch, check in, stay close. And another part of you just wants a minute where nobody needs anything. That's the tension. And if she also looks tired, distant, or preoccupied, it gets easier to let the whole night drift into separate corners of the house. So I want to be careful here. I don't want this episode to become one more place where you feel scolded. I want to help you see what's actually happening. A lot of couples are losing connection because they're depleted, not because they've given up on each other. And they haven't learned how to protect their marriage inside a life that keeps asking more from both of them. So once you acknowledge that both of you are worn down, the next thing to say is simple. Tired can be present, but it cannot be in charge. Because the moment exhaustion starts making too many decisions, it does more than leave you a little disconnected that night. It starts shaping the whole feel of the marriage. You just start putting things off. You talk tomorrow. You'll clear it up this weekend. You'll reconnect when life settles down. You'll make time when you both have a little more room. And then tomorrow becomes next week. That's where the problems start. Because what gets postponed is rarely just one conversation. Over time, it's the whole layer of the marriage that gives it warmth, the easy affection, the flirting, the tenderness, the check-in, the moments where you turn toward each other instead of just moving past each other on the way to the next task. What takes over instead is management. Who's handling pickup? What's the plan for dinner? Did that form get signed? Who's calling the school? What time do we need to leave tomorrow? That part of marriage is unavoidable. Families need coordination. Life requires structure. But when logistics becomes the main language of your relationship, the marriage starts feeling less like a bond and more like an operation. That's when couples start saying they feel like roommates. And I also think this is where some relationship advice can land badly, because when you already feel stretched thin, another list of things you should be doing can sound like one more place you're falling short. Go on more dates, have deeper talks, create a better ritual, be more intentional, be more available. Listen, these are all fine ideas, but if a man already feels overloaded in every part of life, it's not hard for him to hear that and think, great, now I'm not doing enough in my marriage too. And here's the thing. The issue is not that you need to become perfectly balanced or endlessly available. The issue is that if fatigue keeps getting the final say, your marriage will slowly start taking its shape from exhaustion. And exhaustion will always choose relief over closeness. It will tell you to skip the hug or the conversation. It'll tell you to skip the repair, the apology, the small moment that could have brought you closer together. Fatigue only knows how to solve the immediate problem, which sounds like, I need less right now. And if nobody interrupts that pattern, two people can love each other and still wind up living side by side with very little contact that feels warm or connecting. So the question is not whether you're tired. Of course you are. The question is whether tiredness is going to keep deciding what kind of marriage you have. And once you decide that the answer is no, I will not let tiredness ruin my marriage, the next step becomes obvious. Somebody has to interrupt it. This is where it gets tough, and for most couples, where things stall out. You both know you're worn down. You both know the connection is thinned out. You both miss each other on some level, but when the moment comes, neither of you really wants to go first. And that makes sense. Going first feels vulnerable when you've already got nothing extra to give. If you reach and she barely responds, it doesn't feel good. If you try to talk and she says she's exhausted, it's easy to feel pushed away. If you bring warmth and don't feel much coming back, part of you wants to shut down too. So both of you wait. Both of you stay guarded. Both of you hope the other one will make the first move. And that's how distance holds. That's why I keep coming back to this line. When both of you want to shut down, somebody has to lead you back together. Not force you back together or turn a tired night into a major relationship summit or act like every missed moment is a crisis. Just lead. Notice what's happening. Refuse to let the whole night default into disconnection. Make a move that says, I'm still here and I'm not giving up on us just because we're tired. That's relational leadership. And for the men listening, this is where your role gets clear. A lot of guys wait for the right mood, the right opening, the right response from their wife before they move toward connection. But leadership rarely happens in ideal conditions. It usually happens in ordinary moments when doing nothing would be easier. That's your invitation to change. You stop asking, do I feel like it? You stop asking, why is she making this so hard? And you start asking, what would it look like to lead us together in this situation? That may be a small move. It may be a short conversation. It may just be a decision not to lean away from each other. Relational leadership looks different. If she says she's tired, you don't have to push. You also don't have to disappear. You can say something simple like, I know you're tired. I see how much you're doing. I'm not trying to make tonight into a big conversation. I just want us to keep finding a small way back to each other. That kind of message does a lot without making a big show of itself. It stays warm. It respects where she is. It keeps the door open. And that's the point. Relational leadership is not intensity. It's steadiness. It's being the one that notices something is off and interrupts it before another night slips by untouched. It's staying open when your instinct is to shut down, and it's choosing not to make her response the deciding factor in whether you keep showing up. That's a meaningful shift for a lot of men. Because once you've made that shift, you realize that you can start being the husband who helps lead the marriage back toward connection, even in a tired season. So how do you do that? That's what we're going to talk about next. I'm hosting a free live Better Husband community call, and I want you there. It's on March 25th at 8:30 p.m. on Zoom, and you can register at joinbetterhusband.com. We're going to be focusing on ownership, integrity, and repair. And here's the best part. We'll do a live Q&A. So if you've ever had a question you wanted to ask me directly about a conversation you're stuck in, a pattern you keep repeating, or what to say after a rough moment, this is the place. Go to joinbetterhusband.com now to save your seat. I'm going to be teaching, connecting with all of you, and answering questions live. Again, joinbetterhusband.com, and I'll see you on March 25th. All right, back to the episode. So here's the practical move. Before the day is over, move toward your wife in one intentional way. That's it. A lot of men think connection needs to show up in a bigger form, a long conversation, a date night, a stretch of free time where nobody is tired and the house is finally settled. But if that becomes the standard, you can go a long time without really being with each other. I've said this before. Most marriages are shaped more by small repeated moments than big ones. So in a full season, don't ask yourself to create a magical fairy tale evening. Just make one small move. Sit down next to her instead of across the room. Put your hand on her back when you walk by. Put away your phone when she starts talking. Thank her for something you notice. Ask one good question and stay with her response. Pray together for 2 minutes. Tell her you missed her. Say, I know today was a lot. I'd love a minute with you. Any of those or anything else you can come up with is enough to start. Because when the marriage keeps getting only the most depleted version of you, it feels that. Your wife feels that too. She can tell whether there's any attention left, any softness left, any willingness to be with her at the end of the day. So at some point, a man has to ask a harder question than, what can I fit in? He has to ask, how am I protecting my energy for my marriage? That question is important. The issue is not that you need more hours. The issue is that everything else is allowed to take from you first, and your marriage keeps getting whatever remains. If that's been happening, then this episode is your invitation to change the pattern. Leave something in reserve, a little attention, a little warmth, a little energy that still belongs to the relationship. And for some couples, that may mean being honest that late evening is a bad window. Once the kids are down and the house gets quiet, there may be almost nothing left. And if that's true, stop pretending like that's the best time to connect. Find a better one. Morning coffee, a quick check-in at lunchtime, a walk on a weekend, 10 minutes before you both disappear into separate routines. Build around the life you actually have. You're not trying to create a perfect marriage rhythm overnight. You're trying to build a pattern where the relationship does not keep getting passed over day after day. And that usually starts smaller than men think. One move, one moment, one choice to lean in before the day ends. That, done consistently, can change the feel of the marriage. So now let's take this out of theory and into your week ahead. Look honestly at what this pace of life has been doing to your marriage and make one change that helps you turn back toward each other. Here's your awareness question, your action steps, and your accountability for this episode. First, I want you to answer this question. What has your tiredness been costing your marriage lately? Really get clear on the impact of exhaustion and what it has done in your marriage. Because from there, you can take the following action steps. First, look honestly at your current rhythm. Pay attention to where your energy is going and what version of you your wife has been getting at the end of the day. Second, make one move toward your wife each day this week. It can be small. Sit next to her, thank her for something, ask a good question, put your phone down, give her your attention, pray together, tell her you missed her. Keep it simple, but make it intentional. Third, have an honest conversation about it with her. Tell her you know life has been full. Tell her you see how much she's doing. Tell her you want the two of you to stay connected in the middle of this season, and then ask, what do you think would help us stay connected right now? Share your ideas. Listen to hers. Talk about it together. And if you're looking for a place to stay accountable to these practices, that's exactly what Better Husband Academy is all about. This is a community-focused experience with a Better Husband course, Better Husband Breath Kit, and so many more opportunities to stay deeply connected to this work beyond just the podcast. Yes, awareness is important. Yes, taking action is important, but accountability is what holds it all together. If you're interested in learning more and joining us inside the Academy, just go to betterhusbandacademy.com and I'll see you in there. Because here's what I want you to take away from this episode. Modern life is always going to ask more from you. So if you keep waiting till everything settles down, your marriage will keep getting pushed back. That's why later is not a strategy. At some point, a husband has to decide that connection is not just something he hopes will happen when there's finally more time or more energy. It's something he protects. And for a lot of men, that shift is not going to start with some huge breakthrough. It's going to start tonight with one small move toward your wife. Listen, I know, just like me, you're carrying a lot. Life is full, and by the end of the day, you may not feel like you have much left, but your marriage still needs your presence. It still needs those moments where you choose to turn toward your wife instead of disappearing into exhaustion. So stay with it. Keep leaning in. Keep practicing this work of becoming a better husband. It's worth it. I'm Angelo Santiago. This is Better Husband, and I'll see you on the next one. Thank you so much for listening. Before you go, I have a quick request. If you've ever gotten any value from the show and you want the show to continue to grow, to access bigger and more knowledgeable guests, and to keep providing you with more ways that you can be a better husband in your marriage, simply leave a rating and a review if you're listening on Apple or Spotify. It only takes a few seconds, and those reviews go a long way in attracting more experts and bigger guests to the show. So if you're feeling up to it, as a favor to me, I'd love to see a rating and a review from you. Thank you so much for being a listener and all your support.